Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
The Warriors' next move is painfully obvious after a strange draft misstep. They failed to address what matters most. The NBA draft's second round is rarely where championship hopes are made, but for a team like the Golden State Warriors, every decision counts. And on Thursday night, they may have fumbled a key opportunity. Golden State walked away with Alex Tui, no. 52, and Will Richard, no. 56, two solid prospects, but neither fills the team's most pressing needs. And in a puzzling move, they traded away Kobe Bryant, a 6 feet 7 inches sharpshooter with real upside, to the Phoenix Suns, passing on a player who could have helped space the floor immediately. Two glaring needs still unresolved. Going into the offseason, the Warriors faced two critical issues: a lack of reliable size at center, and no true backup point guard behind Steph and Curry. Neither concern was addressed in the draft. And with Curry entering the final phase of his prime, the window to contend is still open, but narrowing. They've leaned on Draymond Green as a small ball five for too long, and while Quinton Post showed promise in his rookie campaign, handing the keys to the 7-footer as the sole anchor in the paint feels like a gamble this team can't afford. If Golden State is serious about making one more run with this core, they need to stop experimenting and start adding experienced frontcourt depth fast. Free agency, a veteran center must be the priority. While the Warriors also need to figure out the future of Jonathan Kuminga, who enters restricted free agency, the center position is the more urgent puzzle piece. Reports have already linked Golden State to Brook Lopez, and for good reason. The 37-year-old may not be the most mobile defender anymore, but he remains one of the league's most intimidating rim protectors, and his perimeter game has aged beautifully. He's not a switch-everything guy, but Lopez still protects the rim at a high level, wrote Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report. And his outside shooting, nearly 2 threes a game at 37.1% since 2022, makes him a perfect stretch five for today's game. If the Warriors have access to the $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exception, Lopez could be the ideal target. He brings championship experience, fits Steve Kerr's system, and doesn't need the ball to make an impact. The trade market offers another path. If free agency doesn't pan out, Golden State could pivot to the trade market. A team like the Portland Trail Blazers, now overloaded with centers after drafting Hanson Young at no. 16, could become a viable trade partner. Players like Robert Williams III or Moses Brown might become available depending on Portland's direction. What matters most is that the Warriors find someone who can take the nightly pounding of the center position off post shoulders, and let him develop without being forced into 30-plus minutes against elite bigs. What comes next? With free agency looming and trade talks heating up, the Warriors' path is clear. Lock in Jonathan Kuminga if they believe he's part of the future. Sign or trade for a veteran center who can start now. Anything less would mean entering the 2025-26 season with the same roster flaws that plagued them last year, and with even less margin for error. If the front office truly believes this group has one last deep playoff run left, the time to act is now. Because waiting for another young prospect to figure it out just isn't a luxury a team built around a 36-year-old Stephen Curry can afford anymore. The ripple effect on Warrior culture and strategy. Failing to add size now won't just limit their playoff ceiling, it will reshape their identity. For years, the Warriors have been the ultimate motion offense team, relying on skill, spacing, and shooting. But rotating Draymond Green at center and leaning on unproven youth could force them into a more predictable and less versatile style, vulnerable to big defensive-minded teams. Analysts are already questioning whether Golden State is risking its signature brand of beautiful basketball by delaying this pivot. The Warriors risk becoming a shell of their former selves if they stay small, warns a league scout. Adding a veteran center won't just shore up defense, it'll ignite their offense too. What this means for other targets. Brook Lopez represents just the tip of the iceberg. Other veterans now suddenly in play include Jonas Valanciunas, Mason Plumlee, and the up-and-coming Robin Lopez in potential buyout scenarios. Each offers a unique blend of rim protection and shooting that complements the Warriors' spacing needs. If Lopez isn't attainable through free agency, exploring the buyout market could be a smart fallback. These mid-season veterans might land in Golden State once their original team clears cap space, and those late-season veterans have historically made significant impacts on championship teams. Team chemistry and low-cost efficiency. Signing a veteran center, rather than reaching in the trade market, would also allow Golden State to preserve their draft capital and financial flexibility. At the core of this team are Curry, Klay Thompson, and Andrew Wiggins, proven talent with championship pedigree. Here's how a savvy veteran presence might transform things. On-court leadership. A seasoned center like Lopez would provide steady guidance during crunch time stretches. Locker room tone. A veteran's professionalism sets a tone for both younger players like Patrick Baldwin Jr. and Tracy Jackson-Davis, and ensures room for rookies like Post to grow without added pressure. System continuity. The ability to run late-game sets including high-post actions centered around a shooting big. Look back at the Warriors' last title run to see how lethal that can be. Implications for the draft and rookie development. By focusing on immediate upgrades instead of drafting front-court depth, Golden State risks shortchanging its long-term pipeline. Yesterday's rookies, Tui and Richard, are intriguing, but without a strong veteran voice in the paint, their true growth may stall. This could push the Warriors' leadership to reassess whether further youth should come in 2026 or if internal development is enough, possibly reshaping trade and draft board strategy entirely. Pacing the title window. Maybe the most pressing concern of all. Timing. With Curry nearing the twilight of his peak and Thompson soon to follow, this franchise's title window is closing. A small ball experiment next season might generate buzz, but failing to advance deep into the postseason could rewrite fan perception and front office confidence going into 2026. A veteran addition now won't just guard the rim, it will signify commitment. It will say, we intend to be serious contenders one last time with this core. The countdown begins. The next few weeks will define Golden State's offseason. Expect sweeping free agent meetings with veteran centers. A front-court survey to identify buyout candidates or ease of sign. Trade rumors swirling around veteran bigs. Internal debates over Post's readiness to shoulder bigger responsibility. Signals from GM Mike Dunleavy and coach Steve Kerr about final roster shape. No franchise has a history more rooted in smart rebuilding and timely moves. If the Warriors want a fifth ring, they must stop hoping for internal fixes, and finally address their most visible weakness, the paint. Warriors quietly make series of roster moves immediately after 2025 NBA Draft. Golden State quietly added 2 elite shooters, and reshaped the back end of the roster in just 12 hours. While all eyes were on the 2025 NBA Draft Thursday night, the Golden State Warriors were busy working behind the scenes, not just selecting prospects, but subtly reshaping the depth of their roster. After multiple trades, the Warriors ended up with the 52nd and 56th picks, using them to select Australian forward Alex Tui and Florida's national champion wing Will Richard. But that was just the beginning of a quietly productive night. Golden State signs 2 sharpshooting undrafted wings. In the hours following the draft, Golden State moved swiftly to sign Chance McMillian and LJ Cryer to exhibit 10 contracts, giving both undrafted guards the opportunity to prove themselves in Summer League and potentially earn training camp invites or even two-way deals. McMillian, a 6 feet 2 inches combo guard, brings 5 years of college experience from Grand Canyon and Texas Tech. In his final season with the Red Raiders, he averaged 14.2 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game, but what really stands out is his shooting efficiency. 52.3% from the field and 43.3% from 3 on more than 5 attempts per game. Cryer, another experienced backcourt scorer, spent 3 seasons at Baylor before transferring to Houston. While he shot a modest 41.1% overall last season, he lit it up from deep, hitting 42.4% of his threes on over 7 attempts per game. Both players are known for their long-range shooting prowess. Over their college careers, McMillian hit 40.8% from deep, while Cryer finished at 41.3%. For a team like Golden State, which thrives on floor spacing and off-ball movement, these profiles are no coincidence. An interesting twist after trading away one of the draft's best shooters. The timing of these signings becomes especially noteworthy when you consider a head-scratching move the Warriors made just hours earlier. Golden State began the night with the 41st pick, but dealt it to the Phoenix Suns, dropping to no. 52 and no. 59. As part of that deal, they drafted Kobe Brea, a 6 feet 6 inches sniper out of Kentucky, on behalf of Phoenix. Brea was widely considered one of the best pure shooters in the draft, coming off a season where he hit 43.5% from three, and an eye-popping 49.8% from deep the year before at Dayton. So why give up such an elite shooter, only to turn around and sign two more? Clearly, the Warriors are placing big bets on fit, development potential, and system adaptability. While Brea may have had the resume, Golden State seems to believe that Tui, Richard, McMillian, and Cryer bring a more rounded or coachable upside to thrive in their motion-heavy system. What comes next? Summer League spotlight and roster implications. These quiet moves set the stage for a highly competitive Summer League. With open roster spots and two-way contracts potentially up for grabs, the pressure will be on McMillian and Cryer to translate their shooting touch and composure to the next level. Meanwhile, Tui and Richard, both intriguing two-way wings, will be closely watched as Golden State continues to evaluate their developmental path. In the bigger picture, these signings also reflect the front office's renewed emphasis on low-cost, high-upside depth. With veterans like Steph Curry and Draymond Green still anchoring the team, the Warriors are clearly trying to blend championship experience with hungry, cost-effective young talent. It's a balancing act, and moves like these are often overlooked, but they could end up shaping the back end of the roster in surprisingly meaningful ways. Why these moves matter, and what comes next. The Warriors' flurry of moves isn't just about acquiring new faces, it signals a deeper strategic shift. Instead of leaning on high-profile draft picks or splashy trades, Golden State appears intent on unearthing undervalued talent and maximizing system fit. In a league where cap flexibility and developmental agility are paramount, every Exhibit 10 contract is a low-risk, high-reward bet. Draft night hangover? Not quite. While some fans question giving up Kobe Brea, an elite shooter with lottery pedigree, the trades freed up flexibility. That cap room could pay dividends late in training camp or mid-season, when a veteran signing or two-way conversion might become crucial. Still, at Warriors on X sparked some debate. Trading Brea was brave. Now let's see if McMillian or Cryer can crack the rotation, typed one fan. Love the hustle. Finding diamonds in the rough is what Golden State does best, replied another. Summer League as a testing ground. All eyes now turn to Las Vegas, where Tui, Richard, McMillian, and Cryer will have their shot. Warriors brass, including GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. and coach Steve Kerr, will be looking for more than just scoring. They'll test decision-making under pressure, off-ball movement and spacing awareness, defensive instincts and effort, chemistry with projected rotation players. A strong showing could fast-track one of these wings to a two-way spot, saving the team from dipping into more expensive mid-season signings. Potential mid-season cap boost. Golden State's strategy also hints at a mid-season plan. If Draft and Develop doesn't produce a cornerstone wing, the saved cap via Exhibit 10 contracts becomes crucial. The plan could include signing a veteran on a minimum deal to plug a bench hole, activating or offering a two-way contract to a standout, retaining the flexibility to trade for impacted depth if injuries strike. That cautious but adaptable approach has paid off before. Think Jordan Poole's rise in 2020, mid-season wing signings, and strategic luxury tax avoidance. The bigger picture, a quiet rebuild or smart supplement. These moves might seem small, but they reflect a philosophy the Warriors cling to: always evolve. With Curry and Thompson still performing at high levels, continuing to inject young talent keeps them sharp, and keeps the roster nimble for future premium moves. Some insiders suggest that before the season starts, Golden State could still target a hefty veteran wing in a trade or free agency, someone who complements the shooting and spacing they're betting on. But that hinges on how summer performance shapes up. Fan expectations and team outlook. In a way, this quiet post-draft shuffle is typical Warriors, always doing, never just talking. For fans, it's a reminder that while headlines focus on superstars, the real engine of a team is filled with under-the-radar plays. If one or more of these undrafted sharpshooters lands a two-way deal or even cracks the 15-man roster, it will validate a deeply held Warriors belief: talent is everywhere, right under our nose. Warriors GM shares Steve Kerr contract update, and it might not be what fans want to hear. Steve Kerr's contract with the Golden State Warriors is set to expire after the 2025-26 season, and so far, there's been no movement on an extension. For fans hoping to see Kerr remain at the helm, that news may be hard to swallow. If Kerr were to step away, it would leave Stephen Curry with just 1 year left on his deal, a scenario that could effectively signal the closing chapter of a dynasty that began in 2015, one that still features Draymond Green as a core piece. Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy recently spoke about this sensitive situation, sharing both his admiration for Kerr and his respect for the coach's autonomy. Dunleavy respects Kerr's timeline, no pressure for extension. Speaking on the TK Show podcast with Tim Kawakami, Dunleavy made it clear, there's no pressure coming from the front office. While he'd love to see Kerr re-sign, he's not pushing the issue. On a personal level, I'd love to have Steve locked in. He's an incredible coach for our team and for the organization, Dunleavy said. But Steve's earned the right to make that decision in his own time. He's done so much, I'm not going to pressure him into anything. The message is clear. Dunleavy trusts Kerr to know when the time is right, whether that's to stay or to step away. You want a coach who, when it's time to move on, does it for the right reasons, for himself and for the franchise, Dunleavy added. A veteran core, and one last run? Despite the uncertainty surrounding Kerr's future, the Warriors are staying committed to their veteran core. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and now Jimmy Butler continue to lead the charge, as the franchise goes all in on what may be its final championship window. Interestingly, this shift suggests the team may be ready to move on from rising star Jonathan Kuminga, who entered free agency this offseason. The Warriors' recent moves prioritize proven leadership over long-term youth development, a sign that they're focused on winning now, not later. Last season, this veteran-heavy roster proved it could still compete, making a deep playoff run before an injury to Curry dashed their title hopes. With time ticking, the urgency is unmistakable. Could this be the final chapter? The upcoming season might be the last realistic shot at a title for this legendary group. With 4 championships already under Kerr, 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022, the chase for one final ring feels even more meaningful and emotional. Honestly, I feel like Steve can coach here as long as he wants, Dunleavy concluded. We'll figure out the contract stuff along the way. But as the future hangs in the balance, so does the fate of one of the NBA's greatest dynasties. Whether or not Kerr stays, one thing is clear, the clock is ticking, and this season might be their last dance. Kerr's legacy and the weight of the moment. Steve Kerr's legacy in Golden State is already cemented. He's not just a coach, he's been a culture setter, a leader who turned a good team into a dynasty. With his calm demeanor, innovative strategies, and unwavering belief in unselfish basketball, Kerr helped revolutionize the modern NBA. And now, with his future uncertain, the Warriors face a pivotal moment that goes beyond wins and losses. Players, fans, and analysts alike are beginning to speculate. What does Kerr stepping away mean not just for the team, but for the identity of the franchise? It would be hard to imagine the Warriors without Steve, said one anonymous league executive, according to reports circulating in the media. He's been the heartbeat of their run. If he goes, that might signal a true changing of the guard. Stephen Curry's clock is ticking too. Perhaps the most pressing element of this story is its direct impact on Stephen Curry. The two-time MVP will enter the final year of his contract if Kerr departs after 2025-26, and while Curry has remained loyal, the shifting ground around him raises questions about what's next. Steph and Steve have a unique bond, said former teammate Andre Iguodala in a recent interview. If Steve walks away, it'll affect how Steph sees the rest of his journey. Would Curry consider retiring, asking for a trade, or extending his career elsewhere to chase another ring? While there's no indication of such intentions now, the uncertainty is beginning to loom over even the most faithful fans. Front office at a crossroads. Mike Dunleavy Jr., now fully in charge after taking over from Bob Myers, finds himself navigating one of the toughest balancing acts in modern sports, honoring the past, managing the present, and preparing for the future. The decision to keep building around veterans like Curry, Green, and now Jimmy Butler shows a win-now mindset, but also a gamble. Butler, while still a top-tier competitor, brings his own health risks and playoff mileage. Meanwhile, letting go of young talent like Jonathan Kuminga, or simply sidelining their development, could hurt the Warriors' long-term flexibility. Critics are already asking, is Golden State mortgaging its future for one last title run? And if that run fails, what's left? A franchise on the edge. With the Western Conference only getting tougher, the rise of young teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the ever-competitive Denver Nuggets, the margin for error is razor-thin. The Warriors are not guaranteed another deep playoff run. And if this year doesn't go according to plan, they could be left staring down a full-blown rebuild. In that case, Kerr walking away could be just the beginning. The The front office may need to consider reshaping the entire franchise, from coaching to roster, in a post-Kerr, post-Curry world. It's a reality no Warriors fan wants to confront, but one that now feels closer than ever. If the 2025-26 season is truly the swan song for Steve Kerr and this legendary core, it won't just be the end of an era, it could be the closing of one of the most memorable chapters in NBA history.